Another episode of TEW 2016 in this 2012 new reality mod, where our at Superstars, our B show played on ESPN2. We're actually live at the Greensboro Coliseum for this episode of Superstars, so let's just jump right into the action. Alright, we're at the Greensboro Coliseum, as I said before, and in a pretty bad pre-show match, Astra Dunla, that's how I'm just going to pronounce it, defeats Amy Villana with the Boogie Bulldog. This again, it's Buggy Nova, but I gave her a dumb name because I'm WWE and I like that. Astrid I'm trying to get her over, because pretty much if I try to put her over any of the women's division, they'll be like, no, she's not, on my level, which is like, cause she has like no popularity. So I'm giving her local competitors. Jesus Christ, this 5, my God. That might be one of the lowest performances I've ever seen in TEW. Like, I've gotten like 6s and 7s, but I've never seen like a 5 before, I think. But regardless, that's just the pre-show. Let's cut into the main show. And in the main segment, we have a recap of how Raw was, with CM Punk, Kofi Kingston, pretty much the main event. I like to do these just to get the show ratings and some storylines over. And we have a 8-man tag team action. We have Dragon Aces in Miami Vice. The Dragon Aces in Miami Vices, that's hard to say, versus Crime Time and Primo and Epico. Dragon Aces and Miami Vices, they beat Crime Time and Primo and Epico when Yoshitatsu hits Epico with a roundhouse kick for the win. Just pretty much just a little match just to get him over. 70C, not the best, but not the worst. And backstage, we have an interesting confrontation. Xavier Woods, a couple more recently, we haven't seen it yet because, again, we've just started, has been pushing for an NXT title shot, and Wade Barrett comes up, and he pretty much is trying to bully Xavier Woods, saying that, Douglas Williams never really got his one-on-one rematch for his European title. So European title's coming back because, of course, Douglas Williams is going to win it. Why would Wade Barrett go up against that? And he goes, I think it's better, Xavier, that you just stay out of this. Don't make it a harder situation than it is. And Xavier Woods actually stands his ground saying, no, I want an NXT title shot. I'm getting an NXT title shot. And you want to know something, Wade Barrett? I'm going to win the NXT title. And he walks off, leaving Wade Barrett a bit flustered that this young whippersnapper, this person who hasn't been in the business for too long, according to WWE standards, is giving him the smack. Next we have Dolph Ziggler. He is interviewed backstage. He's taunting Christian. Pretty much the whole story for this has been Christian's, he's getting up there in years. He's had a long, long career. It's 2013. No one thought Christian would ever wrestle this long, let alone be a world heavyweight champion. And Dolph Ziggler goes, you know what, I respect Christian. But if there's one thing I have to say is that I'm not here to make friends. Of course, it's wrestling. There's no pansies, no prima donnas. But as Shawn Michaels once did a long time ago at WrestleMania, I feel that I'm going to put a bullet in Old Yeller. Christian, it's not officially a retirement match, but after I beat you and win the World Heavyweight Championship, I think you should start considering it. Some strong words from Dolph Ziggler there as we go on to another match. And we have a small match between AJ Lee and Mio Shirai, who recently came up from developmental. And pretty much the whole match is just AJ Lee dominating. She gets the win in about 5 minutes with a Black Widow submission, tapping out Mio Shirai. I do want to get Mio Shirai over at some point, but mostly this is just a build-up to the hype that is AJ Lee. And we get another match, and really the 73 is not that much of a poor match. The Shield, which consists of Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns, defeats Sin Cara and the tag team of Mamma Mia, Brodus Clay, and Santino Marella, when Dean Ambrose hits a Dirty Deeds on Santino Marella, just trying to get the Shield over. And they're pretty decently over. Sin Cara, of course, getting the biggest, since I believe he's named, and Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns are really improving. Seth Rollins is really good, obviously, with the 68, and they've gotten, 80s at one point. And the Shield building up to momentum, They're trying to get in the tag title race. They're trying to get in the singles title race with Dean Ambrose. We're going to have to see how that all comes together. And we have a backstage segment to end the show in which Madison Lane is sitting around, pretty much mocking the women's division when she's confronted by AJ Lee, who we just saw beat Mio Shirai. And she goes up and she goes, Madison Lane, we've fought once for the title, and it was a great match. Everyone's still talking about it. I beat my opponent in 5 minutes, and it took you like 20 minutes to beat your two opponents. So, what does that say? And Masteline goes, What are you trying to say here, kid?" And AJ Lee goes, "I want a shot at your Divas title." She goes, "Didn't you hear from Trish Stratus? She's booking a women's tournament. So if you want to get something, get in that. But, don't bother me. And if you ask me, I don't think you're even close enough of a shot of this." So pretty much AJ Lee and Madison Lane just butting heads. AJ Lee, of course, I mean, all the women should want the Divas title, but AJ Lee with a certain panache to it. And that's how we end our show. Let's see how I got. 84 B plus. Again, it's a B show, so the ratings don't matter in general to me. But, it's pretty decent rating from when I used to start. So I'm going to hit continue, but this episode isn't over. I'm going to see you for the first Smackdown. The first ever Smackdown we'll have of the recorded episodes. I'll see you guys there. Hey guys, I thought I'd cut right to SmackDown. So we're here on SmackDown, Superstars isn't... I might move Superstars to be at the same time as SmackDown just so we can get that out of the way. I kind of liked having it as its own separate day. I might just move it there so this is an easier transition. But I thought I'd start right here. And we open the show with SmackDown's general manager, Shawn Michaels, and Trish Stratus coming down to the ring, the GM of the women's division, essentially. And Shawn Michaels talks about, first off, going off of what Stone Cold Steve Austin said about the Money in the Bank situation. It's going to be 3 SmackDown superstars and 3 Raw superstars, and we already have one confirmed entrant in the Money in the Bank. That's Chris Jericho. So tonight, I don't know why Sheamus isn't supposed to be. We're not going to mention Sheamus, so let's just go off of Sheamus right there for a second. And Shawn Michaels just goes, "We're going to have a qualifying match." That's why I put Sheamus in there. I'm just an idiot, but we'll get to that later. We're going to have one qualifying match up right next, and that's going to be Goldust, the Intercontinental Champion, taking on Alberto Del Rio. And then that's when Trish Stratus comes and says, for our number 1 contendership, we have a miniature tournament between some of the ladies that Madison Lane has not yet defeated, and some she has. And the first in our main event, the main event of SmackDown, the women are going to be taking it, is going to be Beth Phoenix and AJ Lee are going to go one-on-one. Whoever wins will go on to the finals of this miniature. So it's like a 4-person tournament. But up next we have Alberto Del Rio versus Goldust. Let's see how that does. And 77B, I thought I had some... Oh, you know what? I didn't have the story segment set up. Alberto's gimmick is getting stale. I can change that. Alberto getting a 91, Goldust a 71, but Alberto, he's just too, up there for Goldust. Goldust tries, he's the Intercontinental Champion. He wants to get Money in the Bank. He wants to have 2 championships, but, with a step up on Zaguri, that's really weird. I figured he'd hit him with, the arm bar. Alberto Del Rio is going to Money in the Bank at WrestleMania 29. And we get to another segment here in which we have an interview. Dolph Ziggler has a match tonight against Tyson Kidd. But before he goes that, he gets a microphone backstage and starts ranting about Christian. Pretty much saying the same things he said on Superstars. Christian's old. Christian, he doesn't deserve to be here. It's Dolph Ziggler's time. He won the Royal Rumble. He outlasted 29 other superstars. He's going to leave WrestleMania, the World Heavyweight Championship. And the peeps are going to be crying when he holds up the belt in WrestleMania. Just a generic little heel promo by Dolph Ziggler before his match. Just to get some heat on Ziggler for their storyline. And we get to the match. And in a decent match, in 81B, Tyson Kidd, he usually gets 70s. He kind of disappointed me here a little bit, but whatever. Pretty much a short Dolph Ziggler, Tyson Kidd going 18 minutes. Tyson Kidd, he outlasts, but he eventually a zigzag puts him down for the 3 count. But I don't like having it because then it lowers the rating due to the announcing. But Christian comes out right before the match starts. And he sits down. He's not on commentary, but you know how they do the gimmick where he's sitting down, just kind of watching the match. So it looks like, Dolph Ziggler's words have gotten to Christian a little bit. and that lets Tyson Kidd get some opening shots, but eventually he is put down with the zigzag, leading to the next segment in which Christian immediately runs after Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler runs after him, and they just start brawling all throughout the ringside. They bounce off the announce table. Maybe Dolph Ziggler hits Christian with a chair. Maybe Christian hits him with a chair. Any kind of thing that's not attached to the ground is thrown at each other. This rivalry's gotten pretty intense over the last couple of months. It started with kind of some respect going Christian's way to Ziggler, but now it just seems that there is no respect, and this is going to be a hard-fought match here at WrestleMania. Sorry about that. And we cut to, I believe, we have a little exhibition in the tag team division. In a non-title match, the tag team champions ingame, they defeat the American Wolves when Kevin Steen defeats Davey Richards with the package piledriver 84. And I'd just like to point out that the American Wolves, I believe Eddie Edwards is opener and Davey Richards is an enhancement talent, and they got a better rating than Tyson Kidd. Tyson Kidd sucks, can't confirm. But no, it's all just because they have great chemistry, They went 9 minutes and got better ratings than some of the other ones, and that just shows, again, just how awesome these guys are. I want to kind of push the Wolves at some point, but for now, again, just a little exhibition to show how awesome our tag team champions are. Sami Zayn getting 87, Kevin Steen an 89. They're firmly in the mid-card, but I definitely see big things for them in the future, even when they do lose their tag champions, and who knows when they'll lose those. And I believe we have a small, extremely short match. I don't know why Tyson O'Neil has a bully gimmick. That's dumb. But after that, I set that rating to steal the show too, so that's probably why. Ryback beats up Titus O'Neil in about 3 minutes. What can you expect? He's the machine. Ryback's just this unstoppable guy. The undefeated streak that he had going into Hell in a Cell is still not broken. He has never been defeated on WWE TV, even at house shows, since TEW doesn't do those because those are lame. But as soon as the match starts, after soon the match ends, Ryback starts to beat down on Titus O'Neil even more than he really should. Well, we hear the gong and the Undertaker shows up. The Undertaker, the lights go out, and the Undertaker hits him with a choke slam. Ryback on the ground for one of the first times in a long time. We had kind of a feud with the Great Khali where it was kind of him pushing Ryback around, but we've never seen Ryback manhandled on TV like this. And the Undertaker makes his point clear that, he's coming for that streak. And we'll have to see how Ryback will respond to that later on down the line. But I believe we now have our main event, which is AJ Lee versus Beth Phoenix. One of these two going on to determine who is the number one contender for the women's title. No, actually, I am an idiot. We have a segment in which Mark Henry, and Daniel Bryan are around. I don't know why it says Mark Henry again. God damn it. I love freestyle segments. It shows how good I can spell. So they're sitting around, and Sheamus comes up because Mark Henry's talking some smack about Sheamus. And Sheamus comes up and says, I was just getting done talking to Shawn Michaels, the GM, and he's informed me that we have a SmackDown, on the next week on SmackDown, we have a pay-per-view Money in the Bank qualifying match. I cannot talk today. It's pretty early in the morning recording this, so maybe that's why. So pretty much this whole, it's just a small segment, and we have confirmed now that next week on SmackDown, let's get it down here. This mod has a lot of matches, so it's kind of annoying, but I do kind of like it. We're going to have, let's see, let's go here. Sheamus is going to go one-on-one with Mark Henry for a spot at Money in the Bank at WrestleMania. And now we have our main event of Beth Phoenix versus AJ Lee. Let's see how that does. 74 B-, could have done better, but, whatever. I still like it. AJ Lee actually beats Beth Phoenix, the geek goddess, as she proclaimed herself. I believe that was her nickname around the time that she was using. She had a bunch of nicknames, but, the Black Widow, whatever you want to call AJ Lee, she rolls up Beth Phoenix in 18 minutes, getting the upset win. AJ Lee going on to the finals of this mini tournament to whoever we still haven't announced what that next match is, but we'll have to see. And as soon as that happens, Madison Lane, Natalya run down, and they just start beating on AJ Lee. Beth Phoenix takes a little bit of time to get up. She's still recovering from just losing a match. But they eventually, all three of them, just start beating on AJ Lee. Perhaps AJ Lee won't even make it to WrestleMania if she wins. Or she won't even make it to the next Raw or SmackDown or Superstars. They just beat her. They probably, maybe they put her through the announce table even. Maybe we're going to go as that far. In this booking of the women, back in the day, they probably wouldn't have done that. But, Madison Lane, she really she's looking odd at Natalya and Beth Phoenix. These are two people, she's fought Beth Phoenix before, and Beth Phoenix is probably one of the few women that has taken Madison Lane to her limit. And Natalya, she's never faced before either. And being on the same team, she kind of doesn't want to deal with that, but, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, so they use that to beat down on AJ Lee, and that's how SmackDown goes off the air. And let's see how we got a rating. And, this is probably one of the lower SmackDowns. I haven't gone to a SmackDown this bad one, probably just because I didn't want to have Christian in the match yet. I usually put Christian in a match just to get a huge pop, and if I probably accidentally forgot to put this in the story, it would have gotten a higher rating. But, again, ratings don't matter. It's all about the storylines, and I feel the storylines are advancing pretty good. So, I'll see you guys on the next episode of Raw. I'm going to say real quick, I'm going to try and find a better recording method, instead of just having this gray screen here. I'm trying to, perfect the talent of that, so please be patient with me. I hope you're enjoying the series so far. I hope everyone has a good rest of the day.